Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to another video. Welcome to Vlogmas Day 2, and today we're going to be doing a bookish this or that. So basically I'm going to have a couple of questions that are all going to be bookish themed, and we're just going to get into the nitty gritty and just talk about it and just chit chat and have a nice good old time. So grab your popcorn, your drink, and whatever else you need, and let's get into chit chatting about some bookish this or that. So I first went on this list for I got hair stuck to my freaking lip. What in the word? Alright. So I first went on this list for this bookish this on that is, do you prefer to read one book or did you prefer to read multiple books? And I would say this one really depends on my mood. But usually I think this year I've really been on a multiple books kind of thing, so I'm gonna go with multiple books. And I know people get on me all the time about reading multiple books at the same time, but Bookie, when you do it, they cannot be the same genres, and I like to do different formats. So usually I'm reading like a physical copy, a book on my Kindle, and then I'm usually doing some kind of audio book. I don't know, I just feel like that works for me, because what happened was is that like I couldn't bring my physical book to work, so I would bring my Kindle, so I would read a different book, and then when I was in the car I would listen to a different book, and then when I be at home I would listen to like the paperback, and then I have like those 3 books on rotation, and then I would finish one as I go until I was down from 3 books to 0 books. I don't know. It really just depends on my mood. But I think this year in 2024, I was definitely a multiple book kind of girly. Our second bookish this or that is paperback or hardcover. And y'all, I'm a paperback girly through and through. I love me a good paperback. And let me just talk about it. I just love a good floppy book, okay? There's just something about cracking the book back and breaking the spine and it just falling in your hand exactly like that. I just love a floppy spine. So I'm just a paperback girly through and through. And don't get me wrong, I've been buying a lot more hardcover copybooks lately, but I think I'm still in my paperback girl era. A hardcover is great. I feel like hardcovers are great for like if I'm reading like a fantasy, but everything else, like especially if it's a romance book, I really feel like paperback is the way to go. And paperback books are also cheaper and they're easier to fit in my hands. You see my hands. My hands are not that big, okay? So I have tiny hands. Alrighty. So our third bookish this or that, we have physical books or ebooks. And oh my god, I don't think I can choose. I think I'm truly 50-50 when it comes down to either ebooks or physical books. Like I don't know if there's like one or the other, because it really just depends on my mood. But I really feel like this year I read a lot more paperback books. So I'm just going to go ahead and say paperback books or like more like a physical book. And just because I think I just haven't utilized my Kindle as much as I did in the beginning when I first got my Kindle. Not because I don't like my Kindle, because me and Miss Girl, we'll go together real bad, okay? I will fight to the death, to the end of time for my Kindle, okay? I love her. You love her, we love her. It's Kindle, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's just nothing like having a physical copy of a book. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like I can have it electronically, it can be on my Kindle, it can be on my phone, it can be on my desktop, but there's nothing about like going to pick up a book, reading it, flipping through the pages, the smell of the book, the aroma of a book. So I think it will always be a physical book, but I don't mind a good ebook either. It's the same thing, but just like really having that in my hand, having something to actually put on my bookshelf, I just think nothing can ever beat that feeling. It's just like she's the OG, you know? So our next bookish this or that, we have audiobooks or book playlists. And this one's just going to be so easy for me, and I'm just going to say audiobooks all the way, because one, immersive reading, it helps you get through the books way faster. But here's my gripe, because I used to look up book playlists, okay? But let me tell you why I no longer participate in the book playlist trend. And that's because why it's like the 50 to almost 80% of all the book playlists Taylor Swift, okay? Like, and I'm not no Swiftie at all. Like, I'm not a Swiftie, but I don't dislike Taylor Swift. But why is everything like Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, and like Harry Styles? Like, it's like those 3 people. Like, is there not other people that we can put in these book playlists? Like, that is a real main gripe. So for that reason alone, it will just be audiobooks all day, every day. Now, I love a good book playlist that has instrumentals, or book lo-fi playlist. Now those eat. But the ones with lyrics, and it's all of like Taylor Swift's whole freaking albums. Like one time, I literally go through book playlists. If it has like more than 10 Taylor Swift songs or a whole Taylor Swift album in it, I will not listen to it, because why is all of Folklore in 1989 in this book playlist? Like, please, ma'am, that's not a book playlist. That is, oh my god, I love Taylor Swift, let me put a Folklore and 1989 album in here and call it a book playlist. And this is, oh my god, listen if you're reading Beach Read, POV reading Beach Read. I digress. Alrighty, so our next bookish this or that is, do you prefer one POV or do you prefer multiple POVs? And this was also a hard one, because I really feel like the POVs really just depends on what kind of book you're reading. But I would just say, I don't know, like this one is really a hard one. I don't know, like I really feel like I'm 50-50, because I really just depends on like what genre I'm reading, because I feel like multiple POVs can really hit, and sometimes a one POV just like it's just like not enough. So I really don't have a this or that. I don't really have a preference. I really don't care if a book is one POV or multiple POVs, because there's been books where it's like one POV and I'm like, dang, like I wish this had like a dual POV. Now if it comes down to dual POVs or like having more than two POVs in a book, I'm always going to say give me like a dual POV, because I feel like two POVs is like the chef's kiss. But sometimes anything over two can get like too muddy and too hard to like keep up with. And I feel like a good example is that in like the Throne of Glass series, there's like so many POVs to keep up with. Also, like in, what was that one book by Mia Corlin, 5 Broken Blades by Mia Corlin, also has like what I think maybe 3 or 5 POVs. So yeah, so I'm gonna say dual POV. It's not an option, but if I'm gonna choose, it's always gonna be dual POV. I love a good multiple POV. I love a one POV, but nothing eats down like just a 1 to 2 people talking in a book. I feel like it's just like the best way to do it. It eats and it doesn't get too muddy, and I feel like I just feel like it's the superior one, you know? For this next one, we have first person or third person, and this one's just going to be real easy. It's always going to be first person for me. And don't get me wrong, I feel like the majority of the books I do read is in third person, but I feel like third person can get really hard, because there's also like different types of third person. So I think it's like third person like I don't know, what are the different types of third person? Like I think it's like one third person like objective. I don't know, let's Google this before I start telling y'all all the wrong different things. But I'm pretty sure I know what I'm talking about. But you know, I'm not an English major. I am a STEM major. So the 3 different types of third person. So there's third person, omniscient, limited, and objective. So I feel like when people say they don't like third person, I really feel like there is in that category of third person that you're talking about. And I feel like because there's so many different categories, it's just too hard. So for me, it's just going to be for first person. It's just so easy to say me, you, I, we, them, they, us, you know? It's just so much easier to keep up with. But with the different like POVs, when it comes down to third person, like how you want it, it says for omniscient, the narrator knows everything all about the character's thoughts and feelings. Limited is when the narrator focuses on the thoughts and feelings of only one character. And it says objective is when the narrator only reports actions and events without revealing internal thoughts. So yeah, that's just too much. So I'm gonna say first person, because I'm lazy, and I feel like if I pick up the book and if somebody said, oh my god, this is third person limited, I would be like, huh? So I feel like that tells you everything. I really feel like that tells you everything you need to know. That's tragic. Oh my god, we chillin'. So this next one is, do you prefer fantasy or contemporary? And I think for me, I'm always going to be a contemporary girly down to my core. I've really been diving into fantasy a lot more this year. I feel like this year I was definitely in my fantasy bag. But when it comes down to it, I love a good contemporary book. Whether it's fiction, women's fiction, whether it's like a like contemporary fantasy or romance, but definitely contemporary romance. I feel like it eats down. I just feel like I'm always going to be a contemporary girly. Like fantasy, she's cool. I'm always going to love the war, the politics, you know, that kind of side, the magic, but nothing hits like contemporary, because I feel like I can just always compare contemporary to things that's going on in the world today and really, you know, like relate those. And I feel like sometimes you can in fantasy, but so sometimes in fantasy, I feel like sometimes fantasy is just people who write and it's like, I had a dream about this, I'm gonna write this, and I'll write about how my big toe fell off. And here's why my big toe fell off, because the pinky toe was fighting with the big toe. You know what I mean? Like, no, I have no gripes against people who write fantasy. I love a good fantasy book. Please don't shoot me. I love a good fantasy book. But contemporary is where it's going to be at for me every single time. This next one says, do you prefer friends to lovers or enemies to lovers? And don't get me wrong, I love a good enemies to lovers, but let's be real. The majority of these books that said they're enemies to lovers is definitely rivals to lovers, because how they're enemies to lovers, but they already kissing 10% into the book. Babes, no. But I'm a friends to lover girly. I'm definitely a friends to lover girly through and through to my core. It's something about friends who just turn into lovers. Like, I just feel like that's so realistic. Sometimes it really does happen that way. I just love a good friends to lover. Like, when I'm reading it and they're like, yeah, I just knew she was always going to be the one from the time that she held my hand in 3rd grade. And I'm just like, oh. I be crying. So yeah, I'm always going to be a friends to lovers. I love a good enemies to lovers too. I just cannot get down with enemies to lovers, because the majority of the books that said they're enemies to lovers don't really be enemies, because they don't be enemies really in the book. Like, if it's going to be enemies to lovers, then they shouldn't be getting with each other until about a good 50 to 70% through the book. Like, most of that book should be them hating each other, wanting to rip out their throats. Like, I literally should be giving, like, my enemies literally should be giving Edward and Jacob. Like, they should literally be fighting each other and going to get each other like that. That's what I'm talking about when it comes down to enemies to lovers. You know what I mean? You know, that's I feel like that was a crazy little analogy, but you know, you know, if you know, you know. You okay? It's the vibes, okay? It's just the vibe. This next one says, are you a morning reader or a night reader? I'm definitely going to say I'm a night reader. I don't mind getting up and reading in the morning, but when it comes down to me overall, I'm truly a night person. I would get up in the morning and do what I need to do, handle business, because bills needs to be paid. But if it was up to me, I'm a night owl through and through. I love being up when everybody else is asleep. I love being able to pick up my book when everybody else is asleep, because that means nobody's gonna bother me. I can read in peace. So I love to read at nighttime. It's nothing like reading at nighttime. All the lights off, just the book lights on, my little cute little lights, the candle one, my coffee. You know, it just like it eats down. So I love reading at nighttime. Hearing the crickets and the animals outside, the nature, the nighttime nature. It's just magnificent. I really truly do enjoy it. So if I had to pick up a book and read, it's always going to be at nighttime over morning time. And last but not least, we're on to our last bookish this on that, and that is coffee or tea. And this was just easy for me because I do not like tea. I despise tea. And for all y'all who like it out there, if you like it, I love it. But I promise I've tried coffee. I love me some coffee. It's nothing like a latte. There's nothing like a macchiato. There is nothing like an iced coffee. There's nothing like a frappuccino. Okay? I love my coffee. I love coffee so freaking much. Like, I just feel like if I don't have coffee while I'm reading, am I even reading a book? Like, I really feel like it's a part of my like reading routine while I just make my iced coffee. And I be making all different kind of iced lattes. So if you follow me on TikTok, y'all know, because I don't made a honey nut Cheerio latte. I don't made an Oreo latte. I done cinnamon vanilla. I done honey and vanilla. I do brown sugar shaken espressos. Like, when I tell y'all I be in my bag when it comes to this coffee stuff, I really truly be in my bag. I love coffee. Coffee is just so good. I love the caffeine coffee gives me. Coffee. I can talk about coffee all freaking day. So yes, coffee over tea any day. Alrighty guys, if you made it already to the end of this video, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this bookish this or that. If you have some time, tell me what are some of your bookish this or that, some things that you have preferences for in your reading journey. Like, do you prefer coffee over tea? Are you a morning or a night reader? Do you prefer to have a friends to lovers or enemies to lovers? Because I would love to hear y'all thoughts and opinions and chit chat with you guys down below in the comments. But thank you so much for tuning in for day 2 of Vlogmas. I love you guys so freaking much, and I definitely see you in the next one. Mwah.